the first game I played around this year was Deathloop. I was pretty pumped for this game. Let me be real. It looked epic, and it was just kind of everything in the game feels half-baked. Like they started working on all these mechanics and then dropped it and moved to the next mechanic and then dropped it and moved to the next mechanic. So nothing really feels too prominent in the game. They bite off more than they could chew, and they end up not developing anything to its full potential. I wouldn't really care about this stuff, but the game has one fatal flaw. It plays its freaking self. It tells you where to go. When I played this game, I didn't even know what the frick I was doing. I was just following the way markers that the game threw at me. It was like, oh, go here, do this. Or maybe let me, the player, figure out the puzzle. I thought this was gonna be an intuitive genius game where you have to figure out different ways to break out of the loop. Like that one game that I haven't played yet, what is it called? The Forgotten City, that does exactly this. But Deathloop doesn't trust the player. It just says, oh yeah, here look, follow this little way marker. I'll go over here. Oh look, we even have a freaking map that tells you step by step how to get out. You wanna see some photos? Here it is. And it's not even just for the main game. It's for the freaking side quest too, to unlock guns. It's like, go here, go here, go here, go here. Where's the game? It's interactive experience, right? I buy game to play game. The game plays itself. So, I complained, cried, kicked, whined, and screamed when 2042 came out, the Battlefield game that is, and guess what? It sucked. Watch a video on it. I made a 20-minute video, but anyways, thesis on that video is basically that they canceled multiple games, started production early, delayed the game, and I guess the developers were just screwing around the office because guess what? There's practically no game to play. Why? Nothing worked. I did make a video on it, on how the game got a little bit better, but let me leave it at that. 0 out of 10. I'm not even lying here, when the game came out at least. Now, 5.5, maybe 6 on a good day. But when the game came out, unacceptable. Yeah, straight garbage bin material. Then I borrowed the Nathan Drake collection, and yeah, it's pretty good. Now, I've played Uncharted 4, that was great. So I started with Uncharted 1. Uncharted 1 is probably amazing for its time, but now the game feels really dated. It doesn't feel like the tech was really there to have all that shock and awe, environmental destruction, and scripted sequences that the later games had. And the lack of locations doesn't help either. You're in the same location for the entire game, and it starts to get kind of crusty stale by the end, where you're like, all right, can I see anything but a jungle now? And you don't. Characters are okay. It feels cheesy. It's dumb action fun. Things happen. Ex machinas everywhere. That's not really what I really care about though. It's a good time, but it hasn't aged as well as Uncharted 2, the holy grail of Uncharted games. This game's a freaking masterpiece. Easy win. Best one of the series. Duh. Like honestly, I don't know anyone who can even combat that. It just straight up freaking is. It's got everything. It's got locations. It has good characters. Great story, by the way. Really fun dynamics. Puzzles, great. Graphics, really good. I know I was playing the remastered version, but I've seen the old gameplay. It blew my mind, and the game is old. It's an old game, but dang, it freaking slaps harder than a paddleboard. Holy crap, easy masterpiece. It's dumb, fun, yet intuitive, interesting, and creative. The environments are so good. The treasure you're hunting, in my opinion, is very interesting. The villain is the best Uncharted villain. Yes, he's straight up evil bad guy, but he's the most fun evil bad guy you'll ever see. You got good characters. Characters we had before have progressed. It's a natural continuation. My opinion, one of the best gaming sequels, and the entire series afterwards tried recreating what happened in Uncharted 2, but failed because Uncharted 2 is just that holy. Then we got Uncharted 3. Uncharted 3 is pretty good, I guess. It's a little slower. I don't like the villain. The ex machinas really bugged me here, way worse than the first game. Setting's pretty cool though, I like the setting. Setting's actually really nice, I like that. And everybody remembers that plane scene. In my opinion, the game's worth getting to that point alone. It's such a good scene. They recreated it in the crappy live action movie. I don't even want to talk about that movie. But as you know, everything in the Uncharted movie is better than the games. So yeah, give Uncharted 3 a shot if you got the Nathan Drake collection. Then I started with The Lost Legacy, another Uncharted game. It's good. Short, sweet. Characters didn't really do it for me here. Graphics were just still stunning. Uncharted 4 and this game, in my opinion, they will probably be the most graphically impressive games for possibly the next 4 to 5 generations. The graphics are that flippin' good. Cutscenes look like the gameplay. It's one of the only games where I can ever freaking say that, and I'm glad to. It's gorgeous. The destruction in this game, it's nuts. Scripted scenes, great. Villain, Characters, story, And I know stories usually aren't the best in Uncharted games. Uncharted 2 and Uncharted 4 have phenomenal stories, but 1 and 3, they're okay. Story takes a back seat, but the story's still there and it's still good. It's still serviceable. This story, It's just an excuse to go exploring, which I guess it's okay, but it's not the best reason to have an adventure. Then I played Ghostrunner. I don't really have much thoughts on Ghostrunner. That was good. I wish I had more to say about it, but it's kind of unmemorable, which is really sad for me to say. It looks cool. Style, they nailed it. Wow. Combat's pretty good. I like how demanding it is and challenging it is. And you do start to rage. Every time you die quicker and quicker, which starts to get you to rage, yada, yada, yada. Problem with the game I had is kind of the same I have with Doom Eternal at this point, where once you drop the game for like a week or two, you feel like you have to restart the game from scratch to get back to where you were, because there's so many things going on in it that you get lost in the sauce and all the mechanics, and you just kind of give up on it. That's the problem what I have with Doom Eternal. Yes, combat's amazing, mechanics are genius, but it's such a thick pudding, such a thick cheesecake that's so rich that you can only eat so many bites at a time, and then by the time you come back to it, it's expired, and you have to restart the game, which I've done with Doom Eternal 3 times at this point, because I'd stop, I'd play a new game, then I'd come back, I'm like, oh crap, I have no idea how to play this game again, or I'll never get as good as I did, so then I restart the game. That's kind of what I have to say about Ghostrunner. Then I played Sifu. Hear me out. Sifu, best combat game I have probably ever played. The combat is just phenomenal. It's timeless in my opinion. I have fun replaying this game every weekend. Holy crap. Play Sifu. It's good. Cutscenes are great. Game's creative. It's a bit short, which I'm kind of disappointed that it's this short, but the skill gap is here. Easy mode's a joke though. What a freaking crappy update. You can finish the game with one hand. I'm not even bullcrapping you. Here's a video of it.
Hey Abel, what are you doing?
I'm playing Sifu.
But that's not how you play Sifu.
It's easy mode.
Easy mode.
Easy mode's a joke. Don't play easy mode. Play Disciple or higher. Actually, Disciple is the game mode that the game released with, so play it on that. It's a good challenge. It's fun. It doesn't have a tutorial, but honestly, that doesn't bug me. It forces the player to figure things out. Trust the player. Or they're just too lazy to make a tutorial, but I had fun with that. It's such a good game. Graphics and graphical style. Mwah. Chef's kiss. Beautiful. Soundtrack. Basic, but efficient. It's good. The game's a masterpiece in my opinion. It's honestly, it's 9 out of 10 or even a 10 out of 10 on a good day for me. It's that good. It's not addictive though, which is good. I love that. I played the game for an hour, maybe 2 hours max, and I'm like, all right, I had enough seafood today. I turn it off and pick it back up the next day. It's not a game that's like, oh, look at all these little addictive techniques we made so you can keep playing the game like Call of Duty does. That crap makes me sick. That's why I stay away from games like that. This game is kind of like Ghostrunner, but you actually remember it. I remember all the mechanics. I can pick up the game a year later after maybe 10 minutes, back to my skill. It's just an absolute feat in design. Wow. Okay, talked a little too much about Sifu there. I love that game. I can talk about it all day. Let's go to Republic Commandos, specifically the PlayStation port. I love Republic Commandos. I didn't grow up on it. I actually played it a couple years ago, and I love it. The immersion is there, even though the graphics aren't, because it's an old game. And honestly, kind of graphically unimpressive even for its time. I know that might be a little controversial, but I've seen better looking games that are older. But besides the weird wonky graphics, which kind of vary a lot, it's just solid. It's fun. There's some parts that are really grindy, and some of the enemies are absolute bullet sponges. It's a game where your squad relies on you, and you rely on your squad. It's one of those games where the enemy AI, they're freaking smart. What? I know. Game devs these days, they don't know how to make a smart AI if their life depended on it. But this game, from 2005, your teammates might even be better than the game than you sometimes. They're that good. In fact, you can rely on your squad to clear out a room without you. Of course, they'll have a harder time, but the squad is the meat potatoes. And you can command them and move them. It's just a good squad mechanic. Gunplay on its own, it's okay. Kind of feels like a rip-off Halo in my opinion. Actually, a lot of it does. In fact, even the helmet itself is designed to look a lot like Master Chief, which is fine. I thought it was great. It was a gritty, fun, boots on the ground Star Wars experience. I've already played it before, but I want a reason to talk about it again. PlayStation port, in my opinion, it's better than the Xbox version and the PC version. Why? Because this version's H-frickin-D. Unlike all the other versions, they're like, I don't know, it's like 240p or something. It's ridiculous. I'm sorry. This version's actually HD, which is pretty good. I'll say that right off the bat. And also they added achievements, so it has more replay value. I want achievements so bad in that Xbox version because I'd love to get them all. But PlayStation did it first somehow, and it's not even their game they developed. So, yeah, it's pretty good. I also played Call of Duty World at War. Now that right there, that's a campaign. Holy freaking nuts. The campaign's for the books. It's that good. It's geniusly good. It's one of, if not the best campaign I've ever played in a game ever. Oh man, don't even get me started with the cutscenes. Woo! The editing. Holy crap, what the frick did they use to edit that crap? The actual in-game engine, it's mind-blowing. It's so creative too. But in the actual game, it's dark. It's not like Modern Warfare dark, where they're just like, oh, look at this. We're killing kids in our games. Aren't we edgy? That's what Modern Warfare feels like. This game, it feels like it's actually trying to say something and not just be senseless shock. It's trying to actually be like, this happened in real life, and that's what hits you. The game hits you in the feels. It's immersive. Just like I said earlier in this video. Cutscenes, besides the little animations they have while the game is loading, all first person, you're always in control. It's a game that has very little to say, but they spend a lot of time saying it and elaborating on it, and I love it. It's simple. It's good. No, it's not good. It's great. It's not great. It's a masterpiece. It's an anti-war Call of Duty game. I can't believe I said that in the same sentence. What? This is the game where they want you to play multiplayer to kill people for fun, and the campaign is telling you, hey, maybe put the gun down. In fact, throughout the game, I was kind of hoping not to shoot people. The game is so gruesome and gory, and it's effective. Is it a little dated? No, it's not. Graphics are a little low poly, but holy crap, the game has aged like wine. It gets better, actually. It's subversive in all the good ways. It's colorless because real life is not that colorful. In my opinion, this game could be used as an educational tool in like a college, for crying out loud. It's up there. It's freaking masterful. So when I got around to play Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, I was kind of disappointed. I was expecting something fun, good story. Not even just a good story, a story. This game, stuff happens in it. The only memorable parts of the game is when the game actively tries to say, hey, look at this. We're shooting people while they're sleeping. Aren't we edgy? That's all it has to say. It's tasteless. This is why people don't like video games, because of campaigns like this. And the thing is that World at War released a year after Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. It's made by two different teams. One who made a campaign that has a story that's basically not followable. You can't follow it. I tried. I've never even heard of the story. Probably for good reason. It's actively trying to tell you to turn off your brain at this point. It's mindless shooting at its max. If you thought Wolfenstein the Old Blood was mindless shooting at its pinnacle, at least it was fun mindless shooting that knew it was mindless shooting. Well, this game is thinking that it's some introspective genius deconstruction of warfare, while it's just being like, oh, look at that. You saw a kid die, right? Aren't we edgy? It's all the game has to say. In the gameplay's okay. I mean, the gameplay's pretty good for its time. It's still pretty serviceable. But between this and World at War, with the gunplay being virtually almost the same in my opinion, I just picked the game with a better story and more things to say, more replay value, with multiple endings actually. The game just gets better over time. Then I played Far Cry 6. I don't even know what to say about this game. It kind of feels like a nothing burger. There's nothing too much to say. Giancarlo Esposito, the guy who plays Gus Fring and that one Star Wars character, he's pretty good. It does kind of feel like a money siphoning performance though. He's like, oh yeah, I'll do it. How much money are we talking about? Ooh, that's a lot? Okay. I'm in. Feels kind of like one of those roles, like the give me the paycheck kind of roles. But of course, he's still good at acting. He spawned a couple memes, but the game, it's ridiculously long. I don't get why games pad out their runtime that incredibly long. I play the game for fun. It's not a chore, all right? I don't want to freaking delete all these enemy outposts all the time, all right? But there's a lot in the game to unpack. There's tons of minigames, and I love minigames as much as the next guy. At least they're optional, though. There's so many outposts and crap. It just, when you play the game, it feels like you're making a sand castle, one grain of sand at a time. Then I played Hell Let Loose, console edition. I know, big downgrade. But hey, I didn't get my PC yet. Hell Let Loose is an experience, man. It's a good game. Hell Let Loose is not a power fantasy. Actually, in my opinion, it barely qualifies as a first-person shooter. By all means, it is a strategy game first and foremost, and then a squad game second. It's a game about supply lines, spawn points, teamwork, and strategy. This is a game where the commander is like quoting Sun Tzu's The Art of War while telling squads where to go, figuring out where enemies are, and keeping supply lines moving. It's galaxy brain game. It's what men play. You might see a kid playing Call of Duty. He's a kid. When you turn 20, you play Hell Let Loose. It's how it freaking works, man. It's how it works. It's also a game that humbles yourself. When you play it, you might be inclined to just, pick a machine gun roll and just start shooting. You'll die in 35 seconds. It's a milsim that's a little more arcadey, but to the game's benefit. This is a mic game. In fact, the community is good. Community is amazing in this game. Super helpful. Of course, they're gonna have a bad apple here or there, but most of them are freaking good Samaritans, freaking warrior poets. Holy crap. You don't really see too many games like this in gaming. It's a game that forces you to work together and figure out how to play the game by learning from others. It's a good freaking game. Feels old school and new school at the same time, and it's a blast. It's one of, if not my favorite multiplayer game I've ever played so far. Right next to Battlefield 1 for me, which in my opinion is my personal favorite. I know it's not the best, but it's my favorite. It's really giving it a run for its money right now. Next one, indie game, Little Nightmares. Pretty good. It's one of those games that you just play. It's super short, really short. I'm surprised YouTubers even split it into multiple videos. It's good. Platforming's good. Graphics are great. Style's awesome. I love the style. But I'm not too sure. It's just a good game. I don't think I have any flaws with it at all. Could it be longer? Yeah, but it's an indie game. What do you expect? 10 hours is good. And it's iconic. And it spawned its own subgenre. That's pretty commendable right there. Side-scrolling, cinematic adventure subgenre. Then I played Yakuza Like a Dragon. Yakuza Like a Dragon. I don't care. I don't Japanese very well, okay? I didn't like it. I played maybe a few minutes of it. It's not it, chief. It's not it. I'm not a big fan of turn-based combat to begin with, but this has to be some of the worst turn-based combat I've ever seen. Straight up. Graphics, sometimes they look really good. And then other times, it's just people's mouths opening and closing really uncannily, and I don't like looking at it. Oh man. Another thing about this game. Cutscenes. The first cutscene in the game, I kid you not, it's 20 to 30 minutes long. And I'm like, okay, it's the first cutscene in the game. Might be a little longer than usual. Dude, it was stupid long. Wouldn't end ever. The game's all cutscenes. I say 98% cutscenes. You're lucky to find gameplay. I played the game for 6 hours. I think I fought people for maybe 10 minutes in total. And I walked around the city for maybe 15 minutes out of 6 hours of the whole freaking game. It's all cutscene. And it's not even interesting story either. It's a boring, tired, play out, ridiculous, over the top story that takes itself too seriously while not being fun enough with unlikable characters. I'm sorry, I do not like this game. And it kind of turned me off to other Yakuza games. It's just sad because I was kind of excited for the game. Next one. I ordered Wolfenstein The Old Blood and Wolfenstein The New Order at the same time, and I played them in chronological order. Wolfenstein The Old Blood came out after The New Order, but I decided to play it first. I had a blast. Short, but man, it's sweet. I know a lot of people don't like this game. They're like, it's not as good. The world building isn't as great. Dude, it's fun, and it's funny. There's some real funny scenes in there, and there's some actual serious scenes. The part where Rudy Yeager is electrocuting you in the chair, that is a horrifying villain right there, while being flipping hilarious, quirky, but still threatening. It's an awesome balance. I've never seen it done like that in a character. Best character in the game, duh. The game has style. It has a different style than the other Wolfenstein games. This one's really, really weird. I don't know how to explain it. It's a different feel though. The entire game, you're first person, cutscenes and everything. Even your health bar is in really important parts of the game, which I love that crap. That's why I find the new God of War games so cool, because they're made like they're one-take movies, and Wolfenstein The Old Blood is similar to that, and it's super immersive like that. But first hour of the game, boring, because you don't even have a gun. It's a bite-sized adventure. I had an absolute flipping blast with it. So I was excited for the New Order. And the first thing I figured out right off the bat with the New Order is that the cutscenes are third-person cinematic style, which I don't prefer. I really like the Old Bloods version of cutscenes. After a while, I got used to it. I didn't really care for it anymore. But one thing I'll say about the New Order, world building is god tier. Straight up is. Super fun to get invested in. Story is not as concise, a little bit drawn out. Very long campaign though. I love that. I'm tired of seeing 4-hour campaigns for Call of Duty, but I was really surprised by this game. Each mission feels like some developers' personal love project where they put everything into their one mission. Feels awesome. Each mission's their own little adventure, with their own style to it, but they all progress to this giant great story. Story's good too. Characters are well written, and it's a freaking video game. What? We haven't seen this crap since probably ever? ? It's just a good game. Now, the gameplay isn't Doom Eternal level of complicated or genius. It's pretty basic shooting mechanics. I had fun. Had a great time exploring, getting secrets, a lot of Easter eggs. It's old school yet new school. It's Wolfenstein. But I never did play Wolfenstein 2: The New Colossus. I heard it wasn't as good. I heard the characters were worse, but the world building was better. I didn't run out of money, but I wanted to save money. I'll hold off on the second game for now. We have the Eternal Castle next up. I could talk about this game all day. In fact, I've talked about it to myself multiple days at a time when I'm alone. This is a game I will probably talk about to my grave. It is, right now, the best indie game I've ever played in my life and the most unknown game ever. Tell me one person who knows about this game. Do you know about this game? No, you don't. Why? Because if you literally look on the achievement section of PlayStation or computer, there's like 30 people who unlock the first achievement, which is choose your character. It's such a cool concept behind a game. Remaking a game that might not even exist based off the memory of someone who claims to have played it, and we don't even know if he's lying or not. And not even just the cool lore. The game itself is full of secrets. It's semi-procedurally generated, but on the parts where you don't expect, and random things in the game happen too. It's a game designed to be played like it's a memory. Let me pull this up as an example. People would always tell their stories from Minecraft, like around class. You know, they say, oh, this happened to me in Minecraft, yada, yada, yada. And you just hear some really outlandish things that are obviously impossible to happen in Minecraft. I've shared my fair share of ridiculous Minecraft stories when I was a kid of things that obviously could not happen in the game. This game is designed to generate that. It's designed to talk with your friends and say what happened to you during your experience, how each experience is different, and it's scary how they're different. Random tiny details are changed or huge colossal things are changed depending on your copy of the game. There's so much little information on the game that the fact that barely anyone has played the game increases the mystery. On top of that, the visual style is unmatched. Holy crap. The game is eye-meltingly gorgeous. It's so gorgeous I couldn't look at it for too long because my eyes aren't holy enough to fathom its power. I don't know if I'd give it a 10 out of 10 because it's more about that feeling when you play the game. Also, the game's divided into like kind of 5 parts. There's 3 main story missions, the outro and the intro, and they all are in their own style. One of them's in this Frankenstein kind of style, gothic horror. Another one's in a Mad Max style, best one by the way. Another one is in its own tribal, apocalyptic style. These things should not function together, but it does. Man, I wasn't expecting to talk about the game very much. But now we're on to Superhot. Superhot. It's pretty good. Short game, really cool concept, very fun story. A lot of weird side stuff hidden in the menus. It's just a cool freaking game. What can I say? Story's fun, kind of ambiguous, good combat flow. It's a solid game. What can I say? Then I played Overwatch 2 because I got bored and there was a hurricane, so why not? It's mid. I don't like it. I'm not a fan of Overwatch. I never played the original to begin with, so this was a fresh experience. I don't like giving my phone number to Activision Blizzard. It feels like I'm selling my soul to Satan. And now I'm getting constant spam emails from battle.net, which is what I signed up for. Screw you, Activision Blizzard. Don't make your fans sign up for your bullcrap. I'm never gonna erase that freaking curse from my soul. It's just a hero shooter. Doesn't feel like it's reinventing the wheel. It feels kind of played out. I'm not an Overwatch guy. I'm not gonna sit here and rain on your parade. So if you like the game, like the game. I don't care. It's not the game I'm looking for. Then I played God of War 2016, and wow, I was not expecting the game to be this nuanced, and I loved it. Games about like fatherhood and stuff. It's pretty cool, especially because a lot of games are not about that, and even movies. All forms of media kind of just abandon this idea that the game explores, and it does it subtly, so well acted. But yeah, it's good. Combat though, I'm not a fan. Really not a fan. I haven't played any of the original God of War games, but I can see where people are coming from when they say they don't like the combat, because the combat just feels like I'm hitting them with a rubber noodle. It doesn't feel like the axe is powerful until I start juggling them, which takes approximately 83 years. It's not good. So when I rolled around to play God of War Ragnarok, I was expecting the story to be God tier. Now, I have not finished the game. I'm around 20 hours in, and the game's not even over. It doesn't feel halfway over. In fact, that story feels like it's going nowhere right now, which may be a good or bad thing. I can't tell. The combat, I guess it's been tweaked. But it's the same combat. I'm sorry. I can't defend the combat. I don't like the combat too much. It's decent, tack and slash, but there's no substance. It doesn't feel like this replay. It's not even fun button mashing. It's just click, 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 click. Maybe dodge once. Click, 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 click. It's not sifu. That's why I'm angry. It's not sifu. There's no combos. You're locked to 2 abilities. But here's an idea. Maybe make it so we can use combos to use all the abilities at once to give combat variety so you can have excuse to make the enemies more difficult. Also, the game's difficulty, on the balanced mode at least, kind of varies. It's either like too easy or punishingly hard. Kind of odd. Story's okay. I think it's pretty good. Its scale is bigger, but it's less subtle. Feels more like a blockbuster. I don't hate the game. In fact, my thoughts aren't even final. In fact, I probably shouldn't even keep this part in the video, but it's good. I haven't finished it yet, so I can't get my final thoughts, but so far, I think I like the first game better. And for the next game we have, they call it Superliminal. I finished the game midway through editing, and my original thoughts on the game were that it was good, but it was trying too hard to be a puzzle game, but not a puzzle game, and it was too much walking simulator when it was trying to be a puzzle game. That doesn't matter. That's all baloney. The game is freaking nuts. I hear that some people don't like the ending somehow. I don't know what kind of planet they're living on, because the ending of this game, woo, it changed the entire game. It is brilliant. At least a dozen moments in the game, I audibly screamed out loud at how impressed I was and how scared I was at what just happened. It's nuts. And the plot twist at the end, that's the kind of stuff I like. It's a short game, so it's supposed to be experienced more like a movie than a very long game, which I felt like I kind of dragged it out for myself. It took me multiple days to complete the game. I like messing around. The game's very impressive though. Very well done. Whoever made this game, hats off. It's a really, really good indie game that I can recommend to basically anyone because it has universal appeal, in my opinion. Then I got Doom 2016. Most of these games, I'm kind of just sitting around either saying, it's disappointing or it's good. Because that's kind of the feeling I have with games. Games are kind of hard to judge. But Doom 2016, it feels kind of like an unfinished Doom Eternal to me because I played Doom Eternal first. And seeing where the bones were built, it just feels like it's a little lacking on combat features. It's got the chainsaw. It's got all that jazz. But I felt like a little more complexity could have helped it. And that's where Doom Eternal thrives. A little too much in my opinion, but still a fun game. Doom 2016, it feels a lot more classic. It feels like a classic shooter to me. More than the new Wolfenstein games. It just feels straight up raw. But no, it's an old new school reboot game done well. And yeah, what can I say? It's a good time. Then I tried out Valorant. Valorant. So I'm not a fan of hero shooters to begin with. This one's a little more like, shooty CSGO oriented. I'm just not a fan. I don't like this stuff. It's too goofy. I don't like the character lines. Can't tell what team they're in. I had that problem with 2042 where which one's the bad guy, which one's the good guy. They look identical because they're the same freaking hero, Then I played Hell Let Loose on PC, and I'm going to keep my thoughts on this short because I already talked about the console version, which is largely the same besides a couple things. But on the console version, when you turn on your mic, there's no push to talk. It's your mic's on. So you get a lot more personal conversations out of people, which is something I didn't really have with the PC version so far. It's more just like purely sweat. That's what it feels like. But because of the push to talk, our human laziness is just like, But when your mic is permanently on, you talk with people a lot more. And the human connection, in my opinion, is more there, but it lacks in strategy because in Hell Let Loose on PC, it's a lot more strategy focused. And that's really all I have to say about this year of the games I played. Some of them being new releases, some of them being old, but I'd say this is a really solid year for video games, at least the ones I've played. And definitely try out the Eternal Castle. Nobody's played the game except like me and 4 other dudes on the side of the road. So please, at least watch the trailer and you'll get sucked right in. It's a good freaking game. See